Horror Lies.
Hey, what's up, body bags? This is Andrew here, and this is week 170, and this is slasher week. So I was checking on body bags and saw that one of my favorites hadn't been taken yet. So I figured that I'd do this for slasher week. So up for review this week is Wes Craven's My Soul to Take. Now this one here, I know that when it came out and everything, mainstream audiences hated this film. I didn't actually get to see this until a couple years ago. But basically the synopsis of the film is that, now this is a very complicated synopsis, but at the beginning of the movie you're introduced to the Riverton Ripper, which is basically a killer. Basically think of Horace Pinker from Shocker. And it's basically the same kind of setup like that. You're introduced to him as the murders are taking place, and you basically find out that it's this guy named Abel Plankov, and he is stopped, and basically he's being taken to the hospital, and he wakes up, and the ambulance that he's in crashes. And it's basically 7 babies are born that night that he dies, and all premature. All of them are pretty much, they're basically born at the exact same time, the exact same night that he died. So 16 years later, you're transported 16 years later in Riverton, and it has basically become this whole urban legend mythology type thing where they celebrate, like, they kill Abel Plankov and send him back into the river every year. It's kind of this thing where everybody's developed this thing. So on the anniversary of his death and on all their birthdays. So with all that being said, you pretty much get your story from there, and it goes from there. This Riverton 7 start getting picked off one by one. It's a slasher movie with this urban legend type thing going on with it too. So, but also all in it, it's got this very, very complicated story of, like, you got like mental illness, and you got themes of like innocence versus, coming out of one's innocence. You got like it's got all of these like high school cliques and everything is in it too. That's a lot played for laughs. Honestly, this my thoughts on this is I've always loved this film. Now I watched this film probably for the first time I'd say like 4 years ago maybe. It was 3 years ago. But basically, this is a very dark time when I watched this, and honestly, this is a really enjoyable film for me. I've always loved this film. Honestly, the more that I watched it, it became my favorite Wes Craven film, and Wes Craven is my favorite director. So, I don't know which one would be my favorite at this point. I got 2 favorites between this and Scream. But honestly, this is like, absolutely, I love this film. I really enjoy what Wes Craven can do better than anybody else is tell just this incredibly entertaining story within a horror film. I've never really watched Wes Craven's films to be scared. Of course, like Elm Street is scary, and certain parts of Scream, like the opening to Scream, is scary. But I've never really found Wes Craven to be all that scary of a horror director. My thing is he just creates these, out of these simple plots, he creates these really great themes. He creates these really great stories, these really interesting characters. And the characters aren't all that they're all entertaining in this movie to me. They're not all that great. It doesn't have his best characters, but they're all entertaining. They kind of remind me of between Shocker and Scream type characters. And it's just honestly he takes a lot of themes from both of those movies in this film. So there's kind of from if you've seen Nightmare on Elm, I'm sure most of you have seen Elm Street 4, where Alice absorbs all the what is it, the talents that everybody has. Basically, Bug does the same thing in this movie. So he takes a lot from a lot of different other films and puts it in this film. But yeah, I've always, the characters are good. It's shot really well. It looks good. It's very colorful. Some of the CG doesn't work, and I know that it was post-converted to 3D. I probably wasn't that good to see in theaters. But honestly, I've never understood the hate for this film. I really enjoy it. It's a really entertaining story. Not all that scary. The kills aren't all that interesting, but the knife is pretty interesting. You can get it for $85 on Amazon. I just looked last night. But yeah, I honestly, man, Max Terriot's in this film. He's also played, he's in Bates Motel now, and he's all entertaining in that too. He was in House at the End of the Street with Jennifer Lawrence. He was entertaining in that as well. Emily Mead, who was also in just in the movie Nerve this year, she is, one, really good to look at, and two, she's really, really funny in this movie. And honestly, I find all these characters really fun. There's this theme going throughout the movie of like innocence all the time. It's the entire movie is about Bug losing his innocence, and there's an Eastern proverb that says one learns one's mystery at the expense of one's innocence. And that's basically what this film is. It's literally him losing his innocence, and innocence is seen as a negative in this film. So I just kind of enjoy that theme, and like I just enjoy the whole movie in general. And if I were to give this a rating, I'd give it a 9 to a 9.5 out of 10. I'm sorry if you guys don't like it. I know that this isn't Wes Craven's most liked movie, but I personally enjoy it. I love the film. I love its characters. I love the story. All of it is just, you got to watch this like 3 or 4 times to actually be able to get it. Because the first couple times I watched it, I picked out a little bit more each time I watch it. And honestly, I still do. So yeah, those are my thoughts on it. Again, let me know what you guys think of it. I know this is probably one most of you guys have seen. It was one of it was his last original film that he ever did. And yeah, so thanks everybody for watching. As always, please let me know what you think, and I'll see you again next week. Peace.